parked because filming and driving is not safe. Ooh, Tesla. Hey guys, welcome back to our devotional series, The Forgotten Characters of the Bible. My name's Sarah, and I'm so excited to be encouraging you today with the character of Mordecai. So if you don't know who Mordecai is, we get introduced to him in chapter 2 of the book of Esther. And he's essentially the mentor and the constant guidance behind Esther as she steps forward into all these big decisions. Mordecai's beside her every step of the way. And I wanted to zoom in on a conversation that happens between Mordecai and Esther at a really pinnacle point in the story. But first, context. Mordecai and Esther are Jews living in Susa, the capital of Persia. And King Xerxes is looking for a new queen, so he's set up for himself what's essentially the Bachelor Persia. So Esther gets swept up in this. She gets taken to the castle to compete in this beauty pageant to be the next queen, but she hides her Jewish heritage. And all the while that she's in the castle, Mordecai goes to the castle gates every single day to check in on her, to hear how she's doing, to pray, and to give her guidance. He's such a consistent character. So after a year, Esther wins favor in the king's eyes and she becomes queen and everything's fun and good. And then we get introduced to the villain, who is Haman. And Haman comes into the story as the king's second in command. And one day he walks out of the castle gates and he's like, "Hey, everybody bow down to me." And everyone does except Mordecai. Mordecai refuses to compromise himself and his beliefs and bow down to Haman. And Haman is so embarrassed and infuriated by this that he goes back to the king and he's like, "We need to issue a decree to kill all of the Jews." So somehow he gets the king's approval, and then he sends out this new decree saying that in 11 months, all the Jews are going to be annihilated. And Mordecai is mortified. So Mordecai's in grieving, and everything in front of him just looks like a dead end. Like the Jews are just going to die. All of his people are going to die. He's going to die. Esther's going to die. And it's at this time, in this place of panic and grief, that Mordecai sends a message to Esther, and he tells her, "Esther, you need to go before the king and beg him to reverse this." And Esther sends back a message to Mordecai, reminding him of the harsh reality of their situation. And she's like, "Hey, anyone who goes before the king without being invited is put to death, unless the king raises his golden scepter." Mordecai sends back this faith-filled response. And this is what I want to encourage you guys with today. Mordecai essentially says, relief and deliverance from the Jews is going to rise up, whether it's through you or through somewhere else. But have you considered that you've been put in your position for such a time as this? Mordecai showed so much consistency, not only in his compassion and his love for others, but in his faith in God's providence and God's purpose over their lives. That he challenged Esther, that what if everything that you've been given, down to your physical beauty, down to the way that you captivate people, down to your royal position, has all been placed in your hands for a time as this, and God can use this. And I was so encouraged, even just reflecting on my own life and asking God, what are the things that you've given me? What are the attributes that I have that can be used in a time like this? And I would encourage you to ask yourself, what are the things that God has placed in my hands? What am I holding at the moment that could be used in such a time as this? What position has he put you in that you can be using it to show Jesus to people? Be encouraged, be blessed. Go read the story of Esther. It's incredible, I promise.